So yoga, as we know, the word literally means union. That's what the Sanskrit word means. But it's a union of ourselves to the divine. When most of us practice yoga, the union that we're looking for is, oh, I should get my nose down to my knee, or oh, I should get my hands to the ground, or my fingers to the ground. But it's not that union that yoga ultimately refers to. It's the union of the self to the divine. And if you look at the spiritual philosophy of India, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, for example, which is seen really as the scripture of yoga in life, what we're given is very little about physical postures and everything about how we live. Whether we attain that state of union through devotion, bhakti yoga, through knowledge and wisdom, jnana yoga, through service, karma yoga, doesn't matter. The point is just to connect. And so when you come here and we're studying yoga, even though your days are filled with different exercises of the body, exercises of the breath, it's important to remember that all of these are in service of a higher purpose. Yes, along the way you're going to get very fit. Yes, along the way you'll get strong and your legs will get limber. But that's a bonus. That's not the highest goal. The highest goal is that through this practice, whether you get it through a physical posture, whether you get it through the breath, whether you get it through sitting in meditation, whether you get it through a practice of devotion, whether you get it through reading or you get it through serving, the goal is the same. And that goal is union. And that's why when people say, well, which form of yoga is the best? Sometimes people ask it in terms of the physical postures. Is Ashtanga yoga or Kundalini yoga or Vinyasa yoga or Iyengar yoga, which is the best? Or on a spiritual level, people will say, well, is Bhakti yoga better, or a Jnana yoga, or a Karma yoga, Raja yoga? And really what it's like saying is, what's the best way to get into Ganga? Well, on our ghat here at Parmarth, we've got these nice steps and they're covered in marble. Go a little bit downstream, you'll find a marble ghat without steps. It's just sort of an incline down. Go a little further, you'll find it's not marbled over, it's dirt. Go a little upstream, you'll find a rock off of which you can jump. There's a lot of different ways to get into Ganga. But it doesn't matter. The goal is to get in. And in the same way with yoga, what's more important is that we get in, that we get connected, rather than which path we took. So focus on the highest ultimate goal, which is that union. The body is a temple. The body is the vehicle that we use for our union, for our enlightenment. Yes, meditation can be done doing anything, but those of us who have practiced it find that it's most conducive to be seated, ideally seated in a cross-legged posture, with your back as straight as possible. But if your body is hurting, if your body's in pain, if your body's sick, you can't sit for meditation. If you can't sit for meditation, it's hard to have the experiences that meditation gives us. So we take care of our bodies. We've only got one. But ultimately the goal is to use the body as a vehicle for our awakening, a vehicle for our consciousness. So when you're here and you're studying yoga, it's important to remember that even though the instructions may be about the muscles, about the bones, about different areas of the body, that your highest goal is to ask yourself, am I experiencing yoga more every day? Am I feeling more and more united every day to myself, to the divine, to the people around me? When you practice yoga, what you know, I'm sure Indraji has already taught this, but a very important aspect of yoga to remember is that it begins, Patanjali gave us 8 limbs. And asana is limb number 3. Pranayama is limb number 4. The first 2 are the yamas and the niyamas, which is how we live. The do's and don'ts. I won't go into all of that in this short time, but it's how we live. We begin with non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, non-hoarding. This has nothing to do with strength and flexibility in the muscles. It has nothing to do with how long you can stand in headstand. It has to do with who you are. And that's the foundation of yoga. And that's what's so important, because so many of us these days, particularly in the West, have this misconception that if I can do all these fancy postures, I'm a yogi. And we disregard the violence in our lives. Doesn't mean we take a club and we go out and we actually beat people. But it may be violence in our words. It may be violence to ourselves. How we speak, the lies we tell. Do we gossip? Are we negative? Are we judgmental? Do we make other people feel bad? It's violence. And so when we practice yoga, you've come to India for a reason. And you've come to Rishikesh and to Ganga for a reason. You can take yoga courses, you can get a yoga certificate in almost every city of almost every country in the world these days. But if you've come all the way here, you've come for something much, much deeper than just physical postures. Ask yourself as the hours go by, as the days go by, am I becoming a yogi? Am I embodying in my life practices of nonviolence, in word, in thought, in deed, to myself, to others? Am I living a life of truthfulness? And truthfulness doesn't just mean I don't speak lies. It means I literally live by the truth of who I am, of who other people are. Do I treat myself as an object, other people as objects? Well, that's false. When we know that who we are is consciousness and love and divinity, treating ourselves and others as anything else is falsehood. Do we steal? Do we hoard? Whether it's people's time, whether it's people's affection, whatever it is, all of these give us ways to look into ourselves and understand ourselves. And That's what you're here for. You're here for something much deeper than just the asanas. And so make sure that you open your hearts, that you open your minds, and really ask yourself every day, am I getting more connected? Because you're in a place where saints and sages and rishis have spent thousands of years. And this is true for all of you, whether you're in the yoga course or you're just here for a day. You're in a place where saints and sages have come for thousands of years to meditate and attain enlightenment. If you're here because you were called, you were pulled for something very special. Give yourself that gift of really opening yourself up. Really opening yourself up to the magical potential of what's here. It's very easy to get lost in the logistics, whether it's the logistics of, oh my God, I have to memorize all of this anatomy for the test Induji is going to give me next week. Whether it's the logistics of different aspects of what we're doing here. Who else is doing what? Where I stand, how things are coming. And regardless of what's brought us here, that we think, we've all been brought by Ganga. And we've all been brought by a very, very powerful energy of awakening, energy of enlightenment. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. You don't wake up one day, hundreds or thousands of miles from where you were born and where you were living previously, and find yourself in a sacred land like this without being really deeply called. Whether it's a day, whether it's a week, whether it's a 2-week yoga course, whether it's months or years. We're all here for the yoga. And having you all in the course with us just gives us an opportunity to re-remember the yoga that we're all here for.